up opening, this is a relatively strong correction from the day's highs, which were at the starting point of the day. Keeping all track then and watching out for the Europe opening as well. But let's shift focus now for a little bit. Ameet Desai of Adani Power now joins us to talk about how business is progressing. Remember, the power sector space has been under fair bit of focus, NTPC, a lot of these private sector players in the past. Ameet, thanks for joining us. Y'all have definitely shown us that execution has come on stream in the third quarter. PLF factors have gone up a significant amount. Now, when you started your IPO, about 6,600 megawatts were under implementation. Currently, I believe it's close to about 12,000 megawatts. Can you draw a timeline of when these capacities will now start eventually coming on stream and how the next couple of quarters are looking?
Thanks, Anisha. Basically, we are currently working on about 12,000 megawatts. And as we had said, the first 6,600 megawatt will be all up and running by first half of calendar 12. We already have first turbine which was operational for the whole of last quarter. We have now synchronized the second turbine, and that will also have the reflection in the commercial results when we announce the results for the current quarter. And almost every 4 months roughly we are going to add the turbine. The interesting aspect is after the first 4 turbines, which are all 330 megawatts, we have 660 megawatts capacity for all the subsequent turbines which are supercritical technology based. So every time the addition comes in, it will be for 660 megawatts. For the new 2 projects, namely Kawai 1320 megawatts and Dahej 2640 megawatts, we think that we will finish both these, therefore the whole 12,000 megawatts completely by calendar 14 beginning. Actually, our internal target is even stricter than that, but we are working towards 2014 first half to complete this whole 12,000 megawatts and bring it on stream.
I mean, just as a sub-question to what Anisha was asking, if you can give us a more shorter-term timetable, what goes on stream in the current year itself and what goes on stream in the first half of FY11? What is a reasonable PLF that we can estimate, and also a cost per unit of in terms of raw material, fuel cost?
Okay. As I said, in this FY we have 330 and we are surely adding another 330. So before March we will have 660 running. We are surely going to add in the next fiscal another 660 at Mundra and maybe one more 660. So total of another 1900 to 2000 megawatts will get added. So therefore in the next fiscal, effective capacity at Mundra will go close to 2500 megawatts. In terms of PLF, Lata, the first quarter we saw about 92% PLF for the turbine that we have been operating, and I think that we will be able to remain always in the high 80s and mid 90s, subject to of course grid restrictions, but that is what we are targeting and aiming for. In terms of cost of fuel, I think it will become a very forward-looking statement, so I would avoid it at this statement, except to tell you that our fuel cost is very much comparable to the rest of the parameters that we see from other sides of the industry.
You know, the industry estimates, or rather analyst estimates, are varying between 1.5 and maybe 1.1. Which is closer, at least for quarter 4?
Where I think the latter is more closer than the former that you mentioned. And I think analysts make various scenarios, and if we read their reports carefully, I think they have very clearly said that there is more likelihood of being closer to 1.1 than anything else.
Ameet, wanted to get some perspective on the realizations also. How much now is on a merchant basis, how much is long-term? And you clocked in, I believe, about 3.86 rupees in the last quarter. What's an average realization just in the immediate short term, the next couple of quarters that we could look at?
Well, I think current quarter and the next quarter we can expect to have similar realization, though we do believe that the demand for traded power will continue to remain strong in the medium term. In the longer term, as you know, we had 4,700 megawatts of PPAs written earlier, and now we have got 2 more, about 2,400. So of the 12,000 megawatts that we are currently implementing, we will have long-term arrangements of about 7,000 megawatts in place. So that will keep us at about 70-30 on a longer term basis, 70 long term and 30 medium term to merchant power.
Ameet, you'll have to help your investors here. It's always difficult to estimate sales and profit for a company which is rapidly, bringing in new units into commissioning. I think you posted a profit of about 72 crore in the first 9 months. But you have a lot of units coming on stream, 330 at least coming on stream in the fourth quarter. Give us an estimate of what can be the revenues for FY10 itself or for the fourth quarter, and what is a reasonable estimate of revenues for FY11? Likewise on the bottom line if you can.
Well, Lata, I would request that we would not like to talk about the specific numbers of revenue and profit in the public domain. We have had immense discussion with various analysts, and the stock is extremely well covered, and I think each of them have given their ranges which are nearly converging. So I would request that we don't specifically talk about the revenue and the profit number, but suffice to say that we are looking at very encouraging performance of the company, given that our project implementation schedule is quite well adhered, and we are putting up capacities in place one after the other every 3 to 4 months.
I mean, just wanted one more perspective on an internal that may impact your bottom line. You all haven't started to avail of your 10-year tax holiday, and also you won't be paying MAT after some time. I believe this would be once all units are commissioned. When can we expect that major benefit on the tax front?
Well, I think even in this quarter, what we have provided for is deferred tax, so there is no actual outgo, and we would exactly take a call for the next fiscal once we have the operating results in place. But it's fair to estimate that we will start taking the 80IAB benefit from the next fiscal, and therefore I think in terms of tax liability at Mundra, we will continue to have nil tax liability for next whole decade.
Just one more broad question as one of the early entrepreneurs or early power entrepreneurs. Ameet, what do you think merchant power tariffs may look like in FY11? The government itself is perhaps allowing greater merchant sales from its own companies. How do you think, what could be the merchant power tariffs maybe by the end of FY11 according to you? On the other hand, how may coal prices or fuel prices, especially coal, pan out in FY11 with so many people chasing probably what is essentially a fixed reserve, at least in the short run?
I think very important questions. I'll break down in two parts. One is about the merchant tariff and another about the coal part. I think merchant tariff, our view is that it will at least be a number, if I were to give a number or a range, which will be 4.5 rupees plus for FY11, if you were to ask me that question. The point I would like to make here is, when the national utilities are allowed to sell a part of their generation on the merchant basis, it only means that they would be able to charge at the merchant rate which they are currently not charging. The quantum is actually not changing, and therefore the demand for traded power, which has gone up almost threefold in last 3.5-4 years, will continue to go up, and therefore the prices will remain, at least in our opinion, at about 4.5 plus in FY11. The second part of your question about the coal prices, I think imported coal is what in the near term Indian generators will have to be dependent upon, but the government is working very actively to open up new coal linkages and coal mines, and we will see a rapid acceleration there in next 2 years. That's our view. I'm not talking about Adani Power's costs because they are locked in, as we all know, and we have talked about it. But I think you might see a spike in coal costs for other generators, which we believe will be a short to medium term feature. In the medium to long term, I think the costs will even out with more domestic linkages and mines coming into play.
All right. Ameet Desai, we do appreciate you taking time for us. Thank you very much for joining us. Okay.